Welcome back everybody. In this video I'll be showing you how you can make a bomb in GB Studio to blow up both yourself and also enemies. So I'll get straight into it. So to begin, the first thing I've done is I've made a bomb, because obviously it's a bomb upgrade, and I've made an explosion thing, and this is basically what the bomb will output as to kind of show the player what happens when it explodes. I'll just show you what my idea is. So the idea is we have an actor, which is the bomb that we put down. So when we press a button, this bomb appears. I want to make it flash so that it looks like it's about to explode. And then once it does explode, we have these just, like uh, just these sprites that are explosion sprites. And it'll be as simple as that, basically. Like when these hit one of these creatures, it will hit one of these groups, I think group 3, and then it will just basically kill it by hiding it. It's as simple as that, really. And so I'll just get straight into it. So the first thing is we have to ask ourselves, how does this bomb appear? Because we want it to stay in the scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have it in the scene, but out of sight. I'll also hide it on initiate, so that when the player comes into the scene, it's there, but it doesn't do anything. And then basically it will get summoned to the spot that the player chooses. So I'll also disable the collisions, because I think the only way that it's actually going to work is if it goes exactly to where the player is standing. It could go to where the player is looking, but if they're looking at a wall, it's hard to test that, and you don't want to put the bomb in the wall. So I'll just put it to where they're standing, as it makes the most sense. Okay, so we've got this little bomb up here, and when the scene starts, it disables the collision and hides it. And now what we want to do is have a script, basically, that is the summoning of the bomb. So when we want to attach a script to a button, I think before we had the fighting on A, but I want to go around and change that to B, but I'll do that off screen. But I'm actually going to leave it for this episode, and I'm going to put it to select. So when the player presses select, they'll drop the bomb, but currently it does nothing. So they'll press select, and then what we want to do is summon the bomb. So we want to set position of the bomb. So I need to name the bomb. Obviously I can see it's actor 7, but I need to name it bomb. And obviously this means that we only can have one bomb at a time. Technically, if we design our game specifically to have more than one bomb, we could have more than one bomb. But for now, it makes most sense to only have one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an if value. I'm actually going to have if false. And so the idea is we have a variable called bomb, and when this bomb value is false, then the bomb happens, right? But we need to then set true to this value. So when bomb is false, meaning that there's nothing set it to true, so we can use the bomb. It then sets it to true so that we can't double use it. Like, we don't want to be able to drag the bomb around and like keep pressing it and keep setting its position as it should be exploding. We want to make sure that once we set it, it does what we want it to do, and then we can set it again. So okay, so we have the set to true of the bomb, and then we have at the end of it set to false. And so this is the resetting of the bomb value, so that it will be able to happen again. And let's disable the else. So when we press start, if the bomb is false, if we're not using the bomb, then we can use it. And it sets it to true, so that means we are using it. And then it does what it needs to do. And then at the end, it sets it to false, so we can use it again. So in between this false and this true is where we want our stuff to happen. And so that will involve you know, giving it wait timers and flashing, and then exploding and setting off those explosion things. So now what I'm going to do is add a group, and I'm going to put in this group the flashing. The reason why I wanted to have it flashing is to show that it's about to explode. So it's moved to our position, and I'll call this group flashing. And then we want to wait, and then we want to hide. We want to make sure we hide the bomb, and then we want to wait again, and then we could like slowly put this down, but what I'm going to do is always have the hide on 0.2, I think. Maybe even 0.1. We'll see how it goes. We can always change it. And you need to remember that from the time that they press start, and then you add up all of these, that's how long it takes for the bomb to explode, okay? So let's add more. Oh, I just realized the bomb is actually hidden when it starts, so we need to show the bomb at the very beginning. Okay, so before I press play, I've made it so it goes 5 or 0.5, 0.4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1 again. And then it hides it, so at the very last it's hidden, and then it sets it to false again, so then we can test it again. I just realized, guys, that we didn't set the position of our bomb, and that's very silly of me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them to global variables, and I'll call them player X and player Y, and just before this I'm going to set the I'm going to store the values of the player X and player Y into these variables. So store position in variables, make sure you put it before the actor set position, and then we can have player X and player Y. Make sure you set them as global. I accidentally set one as local. There we go. And so just before we set the position of the bomb, it stores our position and puts it to it. Okay, it's hard to test because I've got the slugs roaming around, but when I press select, the bomb now goes to our position and then flashes and then disappears. And if I mash select, it doesn't do anything because it has that check to see if the bomb is in use or not. And that's very simple. So now what we have to do is add the explosions and add the effect to both the player and the enemies. So for the explosions, I'm just going to use the item attack. And what this does is it just outputs like a frame, and that will be the explosion I made at the start. And then it would be from the bomb. Make sure that's correct. And then you see here how it has the offset. This is where it gets a bit technical because the offset is in the direction that the actor is facing. So technically it doesn't have a direction because it's just a static actor, but it technically does have a direction. So we can set the direction in order to make it, explode in the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 0 first. And what we're going to do is set the correct stuff. So we're going to make it collide with everything. And we're going to make sure it's in collision group 3. This is because I've said that collision group 1 is for our main attacks, and then collision group 2 is for when the slugs hit into us, and then collision group 3 will be for the explosions, and so everything is consistent. And I'm colliding it with everything just because we want it to collide with the player to kill us if we step on our own bomb, and also everything else in the scene basically. But it shouldn't really matter too much because obviously it's an item attack and it's only there for basically a single frame. And the way I'm going to make it look like an explosion is by basically stacking up these explosions and just making it look like a huge explosion, even though it's just this like explosion frame like multiple times. So I'm now going to make another group for this just to keep it simple. I'll call this attack, well, actually explosion. So we need to remember that this is like the center. The 0 offset is 0 pixels from the source. It might be incorrect because I don't know where the center of the thing is, and I don't know how it actually works, but this is why we're testing it. So first of all, it's that. So then we have to set direction, and we can make it. I think I'm going to start mine at the bottom, and then it's going to go around the bomb. And it could go around twice, and like, you know, the first one have 5 and the second one have 10 offset, so that it has a, you know, a bigger, like a range of attack. But I'm just going to have mine as 10 for now, just so that it looks like that first diagram I kind of made for you, where, you know, the bomb is in the middle and then the explosions are all around it. So I'm aiming for it to look something like this. So if you remember, we have the bomb in the middle, and then I'm going to do the bottom one. And if you also remember, we have one on top. So the first one is the middle one, and then I'm going to make it go down, left, up, right, and all of these will then show. And hopefully, they'll only be there for a brief second, and they'll be enough to injure either the player or the enemies. So let's go back into the attack thing, and we can then say, we can just basically copy this and set the offset to 10. Now these offsets might be wrong, like I said, because I don't actually know where the center of it is. If it is the bottom, then 10 makes sense, and I'm hoping that the 10 is just going to be consistent throughout, but it might not be. We can easily test it though. So now we want to go left, same thing again, and then we can go up, and then the same explosion again, and then we can go right, and final last explosion, and then that should be the bomb, and it won't affect us because we haven't set up anything on the enemies on hit, and we haven't set anything up on the players on hit of group 3, the same as the bombs. So let's test it out. Okay, so we're back in the scene. If we press select, then okay, that didn't really work as planned. Let's have a look at what actually happens. It looks like it does the offset as 10, and it's constantly going down, which isn't fantastic. Is there another reason why that might be true? Oh, I see why I didn't. Look, you see the player, it changes its direction as it explodes. So we're setting the wrong direction. We need to set the direction of the bomb, obviously. How could I overlook that? That's kind of embarrassing. But that's why we test. So make sure you set the direction of the bomb. And that should be as simple as that, I think. Okay, so now we're here. We can press select, and there we go. It doesn't look as good as I had hoped, and that's mainly because, like I said, it's only on the screen for a single frame. But it does do the job. So there could be other ways to make it look better, and I would probably just double up on these attacks to make it so they're on the screen for 2 frames rather than a single frame. But I'm going to leave it for now, and we can assess it in the future, and that's you guys know how to do it now. So now I'm going to make it so it can kill the player and also the enemies. So we need to remember that the bomb or the explosion is on collision group 3. So when we click on these slugs, we have to look in the on hit of group 3, and then all I'm going to do is copy. I can either copy the stuff that I put on the, you know, when we hit them with the sword. And to do that, I'm just going to put them in a group so it's easier to copy. And then it should be just copying and pasting that over, and then it does exactly what it does when you hit it with a sword, which arguably might not be great, so we could equally just put hide. And so if they get hit by the bomb, then we get hidden. But on the player's hit, if we go into on player hit, group 2 is what we want to think about of copying from, is because that's what happens when a slug hits us. So if we get hit by the slug, then this attracts 2 health, and it shakes the camera. And I think it just wants to do that as well. So let's put that in a group so we can easily, more easily copy it over. So this means that the bomb doesn't kill us instantly, it just subtracts 1 health and shakes the camera. Okay, let's see how this goes. Let's try and get some slugs. Obviously they're very hard to predict and the bomb takes forever to explode, so it is quite difficult. Come on, come on, come on. There we go, it got it. So there we have it, guys. We have a system to blow up stuff in GB Studio. We've made it so the bomb can hurt us and it can also hurt the enemy AI. I hope you found it simple and easy to understand. I just want to thank my patrons. They'll be up on screen right now. Please like the video if you like this video. Please leave a comment on what you thought of this and what you might want to see next. And I'll see you guys in the next video.